All right, everybody, we'll have coach here in a second. We'll get started with questions from Kent. And if you have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand for me.
Hey, Coach. Kind of once again, the team showed a little bit of grit at the end coming back. I think you guys were down 7 early in the fourth. Again, kind of not in a rhythm offensively, and somehow you found a way to do it for a second straight game.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that. There were a couple of times in the game where it felt like it was pretty close to teetering, maybe going the wrong way, but we found ways to answer. We just hung in there. When we didn't turn the ball over, we got good opportunities with shots on goal. That was the number one key for the game, was just not turn it over. We didn't necessarily get that done, especially, end of game. We wanted to be able to manage that. I probably put Crystal in a really bad spot. I knew she was going to get trapped. I just thought she'd have the speed to get away from the trap. And lesson learned for both me and for the young player there at the end. But overall, I thought that the game probably went about as I thought it would. This is a team that's, wreaking havoc on offenses. And, I thought for the most part that when we had the defense set, I thought we guarded their stuff pretty hard. McDonald came in and had a big game, and Bradford. Those are two players that we talked a fair amount about. So it wasn't surprising to us, but the second chances in the first half really hurt us. That gave the discrepancy of the field goal attempts. Again, we talked about that before the game. They were a plus 13. That can't happen. They made their threes. Give them credit for that. But we had to scratch and claw. We had to scratch and claw and sort of hang in there and find our way. We had to abandon some of the things that we like to do offensively just to get the floor spread and just try to play without a bunch of passes so we can get some rhythm.
Coming out of that out of the timeout for the final Dream possession when they tied the game, you had a foul to give. You used them once, but then you let Hayes get in and score the second time. Would you have preferred they tried to foul her on the floor again?
Well, no, you can't at that point. Foul means they're shooting. So that foul to give was the one that we used to get a look at the play. And then, unfortunately, we just didn't have. I don't understand why. We know where Hayes wants to be, and she had that position pretty early, and we didn't come off their bigs to show. I don't know at that point. You're afraid to do something to leave somebody wide open when the ball's that deep. I would have preferred. Fight around, don't let that kind of a direct entry. But again, we didn't get it done, and give them credit. They converted, and we had an opportunity with a little bit of time left, to get a decent opportunity at the rim and try to at least get fouled.
Once again, Dangerfield kind of like designated fourth quarter for you, right?
Yeah, 10 of our 23, I think she had, really got a nice rhythm, and she's hard to play against, and they're hard to play against. I mean, their ball pressure is really good, and but I thought Crystal, she showed a lot of confidence, and we saw her do that last year in the bubble. She was a leading scorer in the league in the fourth quarter, so we know that she likes the fourth quarter.
Pierre, go ahead.
Cheryl, what was said in the timeout in between quarters into that third and fourth quarter? You were down 9 late in the third, but then you guys chip away a little bit. You're only down 5, and then you kind of pick up steam at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Was anything said? Did you notice anything different with the team going from the late third into the fourth to have that kind of momentum?
Yeah, we just know we needed to take care of the ball. We just kind of had a combination of things happening. We were just throwing all over the place, just kind of letting them speed us up, and we weren't really taking great care of it. And then, they were executing their stuff and getting their open shots and making their open shots. We were missing shots. We just felt like we had to hang in there, and our mindset is 3 in a row stops. I think every team probably thinks about that. And then we felt like if we could do that, and we could play off of their misses, we could get some flow. We just had to chip away at it. This is a game that I don't think either team ever felt like it was a comfortable situation. We had that early lead on them, and then we didn't rebound the ball, and it gave them momentum. We gave them momentum at the half by leaving a 3-point shooter So there's just, but I think both sides, probably, whoever lost this game was not going to be very, very happy. But we get to do it again. Same teams on Sunday, and always is interesting to see what kind of adjustments teams can make.
We'll go Paul and then Mitchell. Paul, go ahead.
Coach, Fee looked a lot more comfortable, a little bit more in rhythm than she did the first couple games. What did you see out of her tonight that, obviously 26 points, much more than she had at either of the other two games. So what kind of sparked her performance tonight?
Well, probably her first couple performances might have sparked her a little bit. She wasn't playing like, she feels like she was capable. I thought she was getting, just too sped up and running through plays rather than just letting plays happen. She's got such good footwork, that you saw, her up and under, which was big before that last play. But she's just good in the paint. And so I think, and she's recognizing too that, the three balls are there and she's got to keep taking those. So I think she's had good balance and she was more efficient today with her twos. And, and obviously getting to the foul line was big. And, I like to see her get more rebounds. I think that's the next layer for her, get more rebounds. But I thought she worked her way through a game where, there were times when she was pretty off or, defensively, she didn't do what she needed to do, but she had to kind of find her way through that. And obviously it was really big for us at the end.
Mitchell, go ahead.
Cheryl, obviously, Damaris left the game early. Do you have any update on her and her status, how she's doing?
Yeah, I don't know if it's anything more than this, but she was just having back spasms that just seemed to, not really resolve themselves and were getting worse. And so there's nothing you can do about those things. Really, obviously, inopportune time. And, we'll try to get under control and see if she can be ready to go on Sunday. But I don't know the answer to that just yet.
We'll go Jack and then Danny. Jack, go ahead.
Cheryl, your backcourt had more than half your points tonight, while also holding Courtney Williams to 15 points on 18 shots. What impressed you the most about the way that they were able to impact the game tonight?
Well, and credit to Katie Smith, for us playing both Leja and Crystal together. It was something that Katie threw out over the last couple of days, and so we saw an opportunity in this game to be able to. To throw Leja and Crystal in there together. But K-Mac defensively, if you watch her, she was physical, she was long. I thought she made it hard. Not so much necessarily for her catches, but I thought after the catch, getting through screens. Courtney, I don't think they had very many opportunities where she didn't have a contest or something near her that made her think about it. So backcourt was with whether it was Leja and Kayla. Leja's, very physical defensively. She's long. She gets deflections. I thought that, that was obviously a key because that's a player that's been playing so well. She had our full attention. I think the other teams that were kind of making her prove, that the three ball was real. We had no doubt about what her abilities were from that point. And, she does such a great job exploding off of screens, whether they're Iverson cuts or these loop cuts. And, if you try to get in her cut, she bumps back. She's just a really good player, really active player. And, I thought that, look at her 10 rebounds, 4 of them were offensive, probably the best rebounding guard in the league. She's hard to play against. And so, holding her to 15 was a monumental task. Like you said, it was 18 shots, but man, she just works you. And, I thought that I thought our defense was pretty decent. We'll look at the video and see how we feel after that.
And then Fee played the entire second half. Just as a coach, what is it like for you to be able to have a player like her that you can rely on to just go out there and really just bring you home the whole entire second half?
Yeah, it's necessary. Look at the great players in the league. I always tell Fee this. I was like, look at DeWanna Bonner. Bonner does never coming out of the game. We said that to her in the bubble. You got to be that player for us, and you can't come off the floor sometimes, especially when Dantas was out and then she had to go to the 4, and we played Fee at the 3 a little bit defensively, and kind of just the flexibility you have with Fee, and then just being more, she's playing the 4, but she's more of a guard, and that was really valuable in that last play there, because you have to guard Fee as a post, but her resilience, the ups and downs for her in a game are many. where she's has these stretches of where you're just like, it's maddening what she's doing, but then she's always there for you to make the big plays and obviously be there for us at the end of this game. She had some really great plays in the paint that I thought, like you said, kind of pushed us over the top, and we were able to hang on.
All right, we have time for 2 more. We'll go Danny and then Kent. Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about Laisha Clarenden's game tonight. I remember before the game you were saying it was an unrealistic expectation on them to repeat what they did the other night. So were you surprised to see how much they accomplished tonight? And yeah.
No, I think that, the 4 turnovers, I think kind of showed a little bit, maybe of some of the challenges when you go against the quicker guards. And so, but they got it together. And I think Lasia and Crystal's ability to get into the paint, we moved completely away in the second half. It was like an ad lib situation where we said, we're just not going to be able to, kind of run things, pass here, pass there, and then go get what you want. Lasia was such a big part of that, breaking a defender down, getting in there and being physically tough. She set a tone early in the game, where their defense was turned up and really pressing up on the bigs, and Lasia used that to be able to attack the basket. So no, I mean, look in terms of the opportunities that they got. I mean, that's what they do. Lasia in the paint is actually really, really good. And so, it'll go from game to game. I just don't think we should expect, it's obviously 2 good games, really important for our overall success. And without them, these might be hard games for us to win. So really been a great story for us. I'm really happy, not only for Lasia, but for our team, that we've been able to, win a couple home games.
Last question, Kent. Kent, go ahead.
Well, there was we talked, I think, a few times this week just about you wanting to see whether the kind of intensity that they showed against Connecticut was going to be a one-time shot or the start of something new. And again, a game where things weren't always perfect, but did you sense that intensity and grit carried over?
Yeah, I think it did. And, I want to give credit to our assistant coaches who are, at this point, we're sort of picking up on different things, what I would call triggers, that they're picking up on, and they're taking the initiative. For an example, players frustrated with something that another player did, and that player is saying something to the coaches, and they're saying, no, tell that player what you need him to do. So that communication that, creates the connectiveness, not frustration, that you tell a coach. The coach isn't playing. So our players are doing our coaches are doing a really good job, of sort of understanding, what the players need and when, and thought they showed great poise, and, they've been really valuable, just in terms of, it was Planet's scout. She was on it, being able to help the players and communicate. So I just want to, I think, yes, we have to find our way through those moments, because there were times when I think, there are players that get frustrated, and, maybe how we were handling it in the beginning, it's different now. But again, we had to go through that, so we know what the triggers are, what the body language looks like, so we can call them on it and make sure that, we get the thing pointed back right in the right direction.
Thank you.
All righty, everybody. That'll be it for Coach. Thank you, Coach. Congrats
you.
again. All right, everybody, we have Crystal. We will get started with questions from Kent. Kent, go ahead.
Nice game, Crystal. Talk about this team's. I mean, suddenly over 2 games now, you guys have been really gritty and kind of resilient coming back late. What was the key to the comeback tonight in your mind?
Taking care of the ball and getting defensive stops. We try to do 3 in a row stops, and then go down there and use their aggression against them, get fouled, and attack their pressure.
How did you manage to win that jump ball?
I fired up my quads. That's what Cheryl asked us to do the entire day. I fired up my quads, got up there.
Pierre, go ahead.
Crystal, is it tough for you to, go from one game you're starting, one game you're coming off the bench? Is it hard to find a flow or a rhythm like that? Or do you feel like no matter what time you get on the court, you're ready to go?
Yeah, I think no matter if it's starting, coming off the bench, my job stays the same, and that's to bring energy and push the pace. And that's what I'm gonna continue to do, whether it's off the bench or starting.
Jack, go ahead.
Hey, Crystal, after scoring 3 points in the first 3 quarters, what was your mindset going into the fourth quarter that really allowed you to just completely take over the game and then kind of will your team to a win?
We were just emphasizing closing the gap. I don't know if it was like a 8 or 9 or 10 point lead for them, but we wanted to close the gap going into the fourth and, make the game interesting and take over from then. And we spread the floor because they were being aggressive on entry passes and things like that. And it just happened that way.
And then when an opposing defense is playing such intense, aggressive defense, how are you able to adjust individually? And then how is your team able to adjust overall on the offensive end to take better care of the ball there to end the game?
Well, we changed what we were doing, just wanting to play, break a play to make a play, and that's what it turned into. And then it was individual matchups, going to see if you can beat your person and get to the basket or get fouled.
Kent, did you have another question?
I did not, thank you.
Okay. Rafiq, last question.
This is Rafiq with Nothing But That Sports Talk. Congratulations on the win. I just want to know, how important was the ball movement that you guys had to find open shooters throughout the game up until the late seconds?
It was huge. That was the only way that we were going to break their pressure. They want to fly around and get into passing lanes and get their hands on us, and it was slowing us down in the first half. So we wanted to continue that in the third quarter, and the fourth quarter is really important and down the stretch.
And another question, your teammate, Kayla McBride, shot 5 for 9 for the 3-point land. How big was that?
Huge. Our 3-point shooting the entire season hasn't been the best. And her shooting like that tonight came at a perfect time. We needed every single bucket.
Danny, go ahead and do the last question for us.
Hey, Crystal, I was wondering if you could talk a bit about playing with Felicia Clarendon these last couple of games and just kind of what having another ball handler that looks to pass like that brings to the team.
Leia's been a huge help. Atlanta's guards, they're going to get up in pressure. And I think that when they they started the game. So they handled the pressure very well, moved the ball around and got fouled. And that made it easier on the second group, our group coming in. And, they've been a great leader for us.
All right, everybody, that'll do it for Crystal. Thank you. All right, everybody, we have Fee here. We'll get started with questions from Kent. Kent, go ahead.
Hey, Fee, second straight fourth quarter comeback for you guys. Both games kind of stop and start offensively, but you got it done. You're starting to see some consistency, the connectivity that you've talked about carry over from that game. Are you starting to see this Lynx team kind of starting to show its style of play?
Yeah, I do think you see that. You can see our chemistry is working a lot better on offense and defense. We're getting into the schemes that we want to. We know where people want the ball to get it to them in the right place and things like that. People's strengths, obviously you saw, Crystal attacking a lot, things like that. So it's finally, coming together.
Pierre, go ahead.
Fee, Cheryl was talking about how this game was really teetering. It could have gone either way. When you're playing in a game like that, you can feel that, one bad pass or one shot can just absolutely swing the whole thing. How do you get your team to buckle down and end up being the team that makes the right play in that situation and keeping your composure in a situation like that?
I think just focusing on, not the end of the game, but this possession specifically. Like, does everyone know what we need to do in this possession? Making sure that everyone's in the right place or that we know what we're doing on defense, things like that. Instead of worrying about what's going to happen at the end of the game, just worry about the very next thing that needs to happen.
Paul, go ahead.
Fee, for parts of the game, it It seemed like the team has struggled to take care of the ball a little bit, and obviously that's something Atlanta does really well. But in the final stretches, you were able to kind of minimize those turnovers. What changed there for the team to kind of get that under wraps and be able to make the comeback that they did without turning the ball over too much?
I think our level of focus, obviously it's heightened at the end of the game because everything is magnified. So we just need to be able to do that the entire game, knowing that every possession is important and that they add up, not just at the end.
Jack, go ahead.
Hey, Fee, so you drew close to 15 fouls tonight in the game, but you really did so from all over the floor and in a bunch of different positions. Playing against such an aggressive defense, just can you describe what you were seeing on the floor and kind of what allowed you to get to spots on the floor where you could attack the soft spots of the defense?
Yeah, just knowing that they're so aggressive and so athletic and trying to use it against them a little bit, staying aggressive, trying to get to the rim. Coach, I faded away on one. I think she blocked me or missed it or something like that. And, coach was mad saying, we need to go into them because they're so foul prone. So really just trying to keep that in mind and using that to our advantage.
And then in the third quarter, it just kind of felt like every time you guys threw a punch, they just came right back and threw a bigger one right back at you. How are you guys just able to stay the course and grind that game out in the fourth quarter after such a deflating third quarter?
I think just willpower. And, in the game, they're going to have highs and lows. Teams, everyone is good. You're seeing great players getting cut from teams and things like that. So the 144 people that are here are the top athletes in women's basketball. So we know that they're going to go on runs. We're not going to be able to hold anyone scoreless, and they're going to be good on offense, especially. So just not letting that get to our head and knowing that, okay, that was their turn, now it's ours. And we have to make an even bigger effort on offense, and then defense, making sure that they don't compound that with even more baskets.
Thanks, Fee.
Pierre, go ahead.
Fee, Kayla had a pretty good game as well. As you guys play more games together, I mean, how lethal do you think this 1-2 punch of you and Kayla can really be, and how difficult is it for a team to defend when you guys got to have pretty good games going on tonight like you both did tonight?
It'll be really hard. When you have shooters on the floor, it means that people who are driving, they can't help off as much. So having her knock down, 5 threes is awesome. That's what she's good at. And I'm glad that she had a great game today. And, hopefully we can do it again on Sunday.
We'll go last question to Rafiq. Rafiq, go ahead.
This is Rafiq with Nothing But That Sports Talk. You were pretty much the hero in tonight's game. Are we going to expect more heroics from you going forward?
I'm just trying to do, what the game plan is for our team and trying to help in any way that I can. So it's not really about the points or anything, but just trying to help our team as much as I can. So I don't know.
Kent, go ahead.
Okay, Fee, you played with Crystal in Connecticut. You played with her last year in the bubble, and now here. Maybe you can give us some insight into what happens with her once that fourth quarter starts.
I don't know. She just turns it on. I think she knows that fourth quarter is our last chance to make a big push and to get done whenever we need to get done. So she just gets in that mindset of she's going to be her best self, and it's just awesome to watch.
Alrighty, that'll be it for Fee. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you still hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay, we had a bunch of random pop-ups come on here, so sorry about that.
All good.
Okay, everybody, we got Lasia coming in. We'll start with Kent and then go to Jace. And then if you have a question, please raise your hand.
Hi, nice game, Leisha. What in your mind was the key after kind of a difficult third quarter that this team was able to find what it took to come back from a deficit and come back and win for a second straight time?
What was the difference?
You've done this 2 games now in a row. I mean, are you seeing this team starting to kind of get connected?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're just figuring out how to win tough games in this league. You have to find that grittiness and that toughness. I think we're making it a little bit harder on ourselves, like with the turnovers than we need to, but you just have to find a way to win in this league. And no matter what it looks like, if it's ugly, if it's like, I think we relied on our defense so much at the end of the game to get stops. And so I think we're just learning it's not always going to be perfect, but you just have to find a way. It doesn't matter what it looks like. And I think that's what we've done the last 2 games. Like, we just found a way.
Jack, go ahead.
Hey, Alicia. So you got into the paint a lot tonight against a really physical and aggressive defense. How did that dribble penetration help you, Fee, and Crystal really help kind of turn that game around there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think we balanced it well. Sometimes we did it good. Sometimes we obviously didn't and turn the ball over. But with so much pressure, you just have to go, by them a lot of times and get into the paint. And then I think, it's finding that balance of like when you get into the paint, when is it your time to go score and when is it time to find the open shooter? So I think it turned the game around. Like with a team that pressures that much, it's all like in your face up front. And so if you can handle it and get into the paint and get to that second and third line of defense, that's where they're really vulnerable. And when we did that well, I think we kind of tore them apart in that way.
And then as a vet, obviously you've had your fair share of playing in backcourts with 2 kind of lead ball handlers. How does your mindset change when you're playing along another primary ball handler like you were in that fourth quarter tonight with Crystal?
It's exciting. I'm like, oh, you got it. Okay, let me go run down the court and like take some of the pressure off. So we were doing a little bit of switching back and forth. I like it a lot. It's a nice balance and it takes the pressure off you just having to be the only one. And so obviously Crystal can score the ball. It's nice when I can bring it up and she can be the player that we're running the action for off ball.
And what was it like just to see her have such an awesome fourth quarter after struggling a little bit in the first 3 quarters?
Amazing. I mean, I've been reflecting a lot. I've been talking to my wife about like how important Breon January was for me when I got drafted to Indiana, and I had like that veteran that I could just like watch and model. And so seeing Crystal, like I see a lot of myself in her, just like a young point guard who's learning so much so quickly. And obviously she's much more of a scorer than I was as a point guard, but I think just seeing her out there, like he's so resilient. It doesn't matter. Like the last game I was in at the end, she gets subbed back in and like, boom, hits the tying shot. Like she has that never phased mentality about her. And I think that you can kind of see that UConn-ness of her, that she like doesn't get rattled really even when she makes mistakes. And I think that's a really good, trait to have in a point guard.
Thanks, Laisha.
Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Alicia, good to talk to you again. Congrats on the win. I was wondering, a lot of your teammates have referred to the impact of your leadership on this team over the last few games. I was wondering if you could talk about how you managed to bring that leadership while still kind of learning the offensive system for yourself.
I mean, that's just me being me. Like that stuff is, me talking to players. I think the really cool thing that it's helped trust-wise is I've played with a lot of these players. And so when I'm talking in the huddle, I got a lot of texts from people being like, you were talking so much the first game. And I'm like, yeah, like that's Rachel Banham. That's Demir Stantes. I played with her. Like I know still from USA. So I think that's helped the trust be there from the very start. Although I haven't been a part of the system, I know a lot of these players. So there has been a level of trust that I think when I'm saying things, they're listening. But a part of it is just me trying to be me and be that veteran leader regardless, while again, I'm still learning the playbook. It's those, intangible things, that kind of presence that you bring when you have a veteran that can just like be the steady force for a team. And I'm glad, I played a lot of years. I'm glad it's paying off.
All right, last question goes to Rafike.
This is Rafik with Nothing But That Sports Talk. It's very nice to chat with you again tonight. How different is it playing under Cheryl Reeve compared to playing under Walt Hopkins a few weeks ago when the season started?
How different is it?
Yeah.
Obviously style of play is different. Like New York doesn't like to pound the ball inside. So, one, having Sylvia Fowles, I'm like, oh, wow, I've never played with an Olympic post player. I got to like, remember I actually have someone to like throw the ball in inside. But tonight it was interesting. We kind of went back to more of a 4-out 1-in style of play that New York plays. it's interesting because I can see a lot of the things that Walt, took or sampled from Cheryl Reeve. And so there was a little bit of carryover in the way we talk pick and roll schemes and some of the language and the lingo. I can see the similarities. And so obviously coming from an amazing coaching tree like her, he's going to sample or steal or take some of those things like a lot of coaches do. So it's different. It's nice to play for a veteran coach who doesn't get rattled in a lot of ways, who has experience, drawing up plays and commanding a timeout. Obviously, that's the difference in a rookie head coach and a second-year head coach versus like a very seasoned head coach like Cheryl. So that's kind of nice for her to be more of that anchor for me. Whereas last year in the bubble, like I was the player on that team with the most experience. And besides Shelly Patterson, I was the most experienced, like even coaching staff wise, of playing in the WNBA. So like I had to bring a lot of that in the timeouts and was trying to help the team be like, here's a 2-for-1. Hey, we need to foul, versus like now you've got Cheryl Reeve on your team. You've got Sylvia Fowles, like players who know that stuff. And so that helps elevate you in a lot of ways where there's less for me to try and carry.
All right,
Thank you
guys,
for your time.
pleasure.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. See you back on Sunday.
See you then.
Thank you.